as a freelancer, like here in Serbia, my advantage is that here you can live with maybe not 1,000, but like with 1,000 few hundreds, you can live and pay rent. So you don't need like super high salary here, like before, honestly, I earned more money than I'm earning now. Like when you freelance, the difficult part is like there are months when you earn zero. There are months, like at best I earned, I think around like 7-8K or something like that, so it really varies, from time to time, and it depends, sometimes, you get a job for like, I don't know, maybe $1,000 job, which you can finish in a day. And sometimes you get $500 job for which you need to work for, I don't know, 2 weeks, so the biggest issue is like managing, and planning things on that way, and also usually like when I want to take rest, I get more and more work, and when I want to work, there is nothing to work on, and that was like the big issue for me.
Yeah, must help with money management and stuff there.
It's the like low cost of majority of the things helps, but like when it comes to managing, like when you don't have like super stable income, it's difficult,
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with me is like literally my next step now, when I need to drop down another day, my next step now has got to be get a different job because I ain't going through all that again with bloody them. I'll tell you that. Absolute nightmare it is.
For me, it's how old are you?
I'm 41.
41.
Yeah.
It's like, how to say, like for me it's difficult to imagine that you work 18 years somewhere, to be honest, like for me, honestly, I did like a lot of things, from some like physical things, like carrying things, painting, like doing, how to say, like different type of services, which are physical, like to pretty much I joined like online world when I started boosting people, in League of Legends. That's how I started. Honestly, that was really good. Like the biggest issue was I wasn't smart enough and I wasn't experienced enough, to be able to pivot, to do it much better on a higher scale,
Yeah.
And sometimes in these businesses, like you can either go up or you can either go down, you can't like maintain, that's the issue, there, because like when I joined, I was like one of the first movers, and at that time that was even bigger advantage than now, because SEO worked in terms that like you can just go and post your link on different forums, and that counted for backlink, like, and it was something that's positive, now if you go and spam your link somewhere, it will count as a negative, so like at that time it was easy, if you work hard enough, it's easy to gain advantage, like, but for me the difficult part was like finding some good developer, and like I wasn't even able to articulate properly what I needed, like now, like for them it's how to say, like you need to articulate properly what you need, because then they will know which technology they should use, and if they're the right person for you, and like for example, now when you install WordPress, for example, you can install it in like, I don't know, 10 minutes, right? And you can set up your website in like a day or something, back then, like you didn't have so much scripts and things like that, add-ons, and it was much more difficult because you had to do everything manually, and you wasn't able to find tutorials on everything on internet as you can now, for example, So some of the things I did myself, some of the things I had a friend do it for me, but yeah, at that time it was great, But like I had a stupid ambition of opening gym in Serbia, and that like ruined me from the business perspective for maybe 5 years, 6 years, that was like such a bad move, because like when you don't have like a lot of business experience and you don't have anyone to learn from, now there are more podcasts business oriented, but still, like in every country, I guess the things function differently. So it's also important thing to consider, like it's weird to say, but sometimes here in Serbia, like aggression might be the best way to get the things, that you want, and that's usually not the route that I like to go for,
Yeah, no, I understand. So you wish you never got your gym now?
It's not that I don't like. I gained a lot of experience, and I think like I learned a lot from it. But like the reason why I opened the gym, like my main goal to open the gym was like I thought that I will coach more people and I will like live decently, with it. And like that will help me to become better powerlifter because I will be even more engaged within community and things like that. And like the thing about which I haven't thought at the time is that I will need to do administration things. I will have to do cleaning. I will need to do, to manage some things. And like all these things, there are so much more of these things in comparison to like how much you train people and do the things that you actually like, So that was like one of the big issues, when it comes to gym.
Yeah. No, I can imagine it's going to be the same with doing this as and when the channels progress. It's going to be at some point a case where you're just creating videos and everybody else could do other things for you.
Yeah. Well, I had a guy helping me to edit things. Some of the things I edit, some of the things he edits. But I think he's not cheap, but he's doing a really good job. Like.
No, I think the editing's been brilliant. It's so annoying uploading videos, isn't it?
Uploading for me, uploading is not an issue. Like I hate editing, to be honest.
Yeah. It's not, editing doesn't take me long. It's literally on Clipchamp. It doesn't take too long to edit anything, but my editing's not as good as yours, though.
Well, you mean like that guy's, he edited like all the good things are like come from him, I can chop the videos pretty fast and yeah. But I think like you are like more fluent in terms that when you start speaking, you don't have any breaks, and you start speaking and you can speak for 5-10 minutes straight, and you just chop the like first few seconds, last few seconds, and you're done, when it comes to that. For me, it's more difficult because sometimes I forget how to say some word, or something like that. And then it takes me much more, to record the video and to prepare.
Yeah. I think as well with you sit still, don't you? You sit still, you're not like literally, I can't sit still for 5 minutes. So I'm constantly like, my legs are always shaking. I'm constantly moving around all the time because I'm just like, I think it's ADHD or something like that. But if I was trying to edit, I would be like, literally my chair would be like that one side and then I'd edit it and the chair would be like that one side and my head would be over here.
Yeah, I realize. Yeah, I'm like maybe calmer guy, than everyone would expect me to be.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons is I learned how to balance things, like because I'm 140 kilos, if I'm aggressive, like in general, like more you are, like a bit more aggressive when you're speaking and these things, like if I'm like that, they would think that I'm a killer, to be honest.
Yeah, quite.
Like I learned, like to even like when I parked that car, they told me like, well, the next neighbor told me that his daughter is scared of us, which is like ridiculous because, like I am always like super nice, I was never like, I don't know, I never said anything bad or anything, so it's weird to me.
No, it's silly, isn't it? It's silly.
Yeah.
Just because you're big, probably.
But I think, like regarding these things, at one point, I know that you have like coach. Like I feel that at one point, like we will be able to utilize our advantages better and like to neglect disadvantages to some point. Like already I have few people telling me that I'm a bit more natural. But still, when I have some old videos where I was recording on Serbian language. And I realize when I'm recording on Serbian language and when I'm talking about fitness, I'm more relaxed in comparison to when I talk about crypto, because some things, like I'm always scared to not say and not publish something that is like completely ridiculous. Like the guy for which I told you, he said that the Bitcoin will go like 3 to 6x maximum from the bottom, and then he said he expects it to go over 10k, like pretty much like the bottom was like 900 something, so it's already more than 10x, right? So I really hate when you can understand these are like some lapsuses, but I really don't like making them, so I always try to be careful to not say stupid things, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm literally going to try a different approach with my channel now. I've done that banner, I redone the banner, and he's told me to redo it again. But I think he's going to help me do it. But it's going to be like literally the focus is going to be like my journey kind of thing. It's going to be my journey. I'm going to create my own journey. It's going to hold me accountable for things. So it's going to be good for me as well, because I've got a bit of a scatterbrain. So it's going to hold me accountable for things. And like, just an example, one thing that I was thinking of doing is like we've saved this money on takeaways by not spending on takeaways, and this is what I'm going to spend it on. So try and bring like money management into it and things like that.
Yeah, I think, like when it comes like to sharing a journey, I think that's definitely something that should be a part of the channel. Like my biggest issue with that is like, if you're recording your journey, like if you're a trader, then you always have content. But if you're doing few swing trades from time to time, then you can't make like 2-3 videos per week, just because sometimes you don't have anything to record on, right?
Yeah.
Because you haven't done anything new, in the last week, and sometimes when you're doing, let's say, if you want to create course, like you're creating, and like you don't want to release it until it's all done, and like you can like say I'm working on this, but yeah, it takes time, to create it, Same as if you are writing a book, for example, So that's the issue with like sharing your journey, that like unless you're like super active, like flipping NFTs or something like that, you just won't have like enough information to remain interesting, for the audience. And one of the things, I did a podcast with one friend today, and I realized like he also said, like, I'm not interesting enough for the audience because, he's not recording videos about like super trending things, He's trying to learn his audience more about like how to understand the markets, how to position themselves, that you can always take advantage, whatever happens and these things, and I feel that like now in the markets, like I'm in a lot of Telegram groups, and many of them, they're posting trades, and each trade that you look, everything is like 25x, 50x, 75x, 100x leverage, even higher sometimes, and I feel that like this is not something that can get you. It can get you, maybe even if you're lucky, it can get you from $100 to 10k, but it won't take you from 100k to 1 million. It will get you from 100k to 0, to be honest.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Because you can be lucky and you can earn a lot of money in short amount of time. I went through that, to be honest, but like it's so easy to lose it afterwards,
Yeah. You do well to get 100 grand when you're off $100.
Yeah.
No, I agree. But what's the just looking at the charts now. But what I was thinking on my channel is I could if there was nothing going on in the markets, or if it wasn't a good time, I could either look at doing certain things like diversifying into gold or oil or whatever it is that's not doing too bad at the time, kind of thing. Certain stocks, and like kind of when certain markets are down, try and find correlations when certain markets are trending upwards and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that friend, he said maybe he will join today. I don't know. We will see. Yeah. But he said, like, for example, like his goal is like once he sells crypto near the top, he will transfer pretty much everything to gold, because gold usually like reacts completely different, So you're also drinking some energy drink.
This is not actually an energy drink. It's just posh lemonade. I don't know if you could see it.
It's getting blurred via Zoom.
Oh, there we go. No, you can't see it.
You need to place it instead of your face.
I can see. I'm not very technological, but no, I don't have them in the afternoon because it's afternoon. It's like 7 o'clock here.
No, I don't have issue. Like I can drink an energy drink and I can go to sleep immediately. I don't have problem. No. Sometimes I will sleep even like better, when I do it. The biggest issue, like for me, is I live in the first floor, as I told you, and like they're all the time playing basketball, and like for me, it's weird that like there are like 10,000 sports, right? And like from all sports, they started playing basketball. If they started doing anything else, it wouldn't be an issue for me,
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to annoy you.
Yeah.
What you mentioned flipping NFTs. What NFTs have you got?
I haven't got any NFTs. I just mentioned, that for somebody, I know some guys from Serbia, they were promoting how they earn a lot of money by flipping NFTs, and that's something, that you can observe all the time and flip. I feel, like more than even like there can be even more actions than people that are doing intraday trading,
Yeah.
I saw some people like, I think it's called warrior trading. That guy, like he has some good mindset in terms that he's like, I do, let's say 2, 3, 4 trades per day, and that's it, And no matter how trades end up, like he's done, and like if he realizes that he starts, and sometimes he can get like 10, 15 positive days in a row, which is insane, with these principles. But when he starts and he had like 3 bad days in a row, he starts reducing position size until he turns again to have profitable days, and he talks a lot about like psychological aspect of trading, and how difficult it is to be like non-biased if you own something, so it's also sometimes an issue, That's why I'm working on that algorithm, because like, do you follow strictly the rules that you mentioned in that video that you sent me, or no? Or you're looking that like you have, for example, 7 out of 10 things, or?
Well, which video was it? The strategy one?
Yeah.
No, I don't tend to. I've got the only reason why, Jellico, is because I don't get enough chance to look at the charts. A lot of the time I get tired after work and I can never be bothered to do anything, and I should put in sell orders and buy orders really. But on a higher time frame, I'm more like short-term kind of thing. So I'll just diversify like either into USDT or I'll diversify into altcoins at certain points. To be honest with you, it's the first time within the last probably 4 or 5 months I've diversified into any altcoins, but I've converted a lot into USDT again, because just in case we might get a run to the upside, but just in case. I mean, Bitcoin's difficult at the moment. Let me share. I'm just looking at.
Yeah, I think that now, for example, that there is a possibility that we have some kind of altcoin season. I wouldn't expect it to be long, but if we have a run up, I think that there is a possibility that we have alts running. I'm not sure, if that would be like layer tools or memes or something else, but I feel that there is a possibility that we have altcoin season run.
Yeah. What's
not a big percentage, but I think there are still chances that will happen.
Yeah. When you look at it on, I'll have a look in a sec. When you look at it on previous runs, it's always like a day or 2 days or 3 days kind of thing, and they just run stupid and then slam down. Because that could make a lower high, couldn't it? That as a lower high, come back down and test that. I mean, do you think that would give an alt season?
Oh, you're looking at BTC dominance, right?
Yeah. I mean, do you think that would give an alt season? Because that is what we've had already. So that would be like an ABC, equal measured move, which would be a corrective move. And then if that's a corrective ABC move, then you'd expect this to gain support at this previous resistance level and pump up to the upside. So if that was an equal measured move, that potentially could be your alt season. Is just what we've had already, a repeat of the altcoins slightly running against Bitcoin. But that's speculation. We'll have to see what happens. This could break through here as well. Could break through there as well, couldn't it? Dominance to the upside, which would probably struggle to get an alt season if that continued, because it has run, but it's took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It took 12 days to get there to the upside, whereas to the downside, it was like bang.
Yeah. I think that was the day when XRP jumped or something like that.
Yeah. What is the S&P doing? Let's have a look at the S&P 500.
I know that some top 500 companies felt a bit, but I'm not sure about. Yeah, it's falling. Yeah, I haven't looked into S&P for a while as well.
I haven't looked at this for a long time.
I know that Apple felt like 10-15% in a few days or something like that, so yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
This is this is the 3 day then. So as this is all-time high, I don't think it's going to could test a double top though, couldn't it, Jellicoe?
Yeah, we're gonna see. Yeah,
4.5%. 4.5%. It could test a double top. If it tested a double top,
can you measure the previous pullbacks? What are the percentages?
Yeah, that looks like a 786 potentially. Let's have a look. So it's reacted at the 786.
Yeah,
just reacted, and then we had a lower close candle here, which showed that the bears had regained momentum at that 786, and potentially we're going to have another lower close. So you'd see it coming back, testing this level here as support. See if we get support at this level, which is 4427 on the S&P, give or take 4425. See how that reacts. But if you thought about the S&P, right? So this is the 3 day. If you thought about the S&P 500 coming back now for a retest, and potentially getting a reaction from this, and going back up and slowly testing its highs, and getting a reaction from here. If that continued on the S&P 500, and then dominance continued to the downside here to test this previous resistance, if that happened on the S&P 500, that's probably correlating with that Bitcoin, the altcoin season that you potentially mentioned. So you get a bit of momentum here from Bitcoin against the dominance. Bitcoin's probably going to increase, but the altcoins will increase more. So the market cap will kind of hover around if Bitcoin runs with it. And then you've got the S&P 500 testing previous highs, probably get a rejection, a strong rejection. And then that could potentially be the downturn and the pullback that everybody's looking for. So if you look at Bitcoin, because this is a major resistance level here, isn't it? So to get through there, you're looking at 47,913. But I mean, that's not far. That's about the same distance as the bottom here. What's that? That's 103%. That's 103% from where we are now. That's 63%. So it's took a long time to get there, is what I'm saying. Is it's going to struggle to get all the way back up to that level again anytime soon, unless it's a huge pump and then probably a dump afterwards. But we'll have to see. It's not given much at the moment.
It's funny how if you compare, usually before when you look into S&P 500 and Bitcoin, usually you had much higher, when the prices are increasing, you had higher increase of Bitcoin in comparison to S&P 500.
Yeah.
And like now you have bigger pullbacks sometimes on Bitcoin than S&P 500, but you don't have a bigger increase in price. So that's a little bit weird, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It'll slowly decorrelate, won't it?
Yeah, we're gonna see. That's one of the interesting things to see, like if Bitcoin will have more correlation with gold or it will have more correlation with S&P 500 in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like one of the things that I expect Bitcoin to be like more used in terms of like preservation of wealth, which would correlate with the gold, but the rest of the market I would expect to correlate more with S&P 500 maybe.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Yeah. But I mean, when you look at the S&P 500 on the macro, you look at the S&P and what story you get on the weekly, or okay, we use a line chart. Look at that in yellow.
Oh, I rarely use lines when I'm showing something, some asset, you know. Usually I use lines for BTC dominance and things like that, yeah, but when I'm looking at asset.
I don't like using lines. The only good thing is I'll use lines for drawing resistance and support levels, because when you look at this, for instance, here, that's the actual candle close. So whereas you're getting wicks and you're getting manipulation and stuff, you're actually getting the candle closes here. So it's more powerful. You're going to actually get an actual reaction from there. But then I always, candlesticks tell you a story. Candlesticks are much better. That's all right, mate. So this is the story that I get from, it's not going back. I don't know, but what you can see anyway, and if you go back on a previous chart that I looked at, that goes back to 2011. Can't see, but when you go back to the financial crash in 2008, you got the financial crash, which was the big, huge dip. And then it was slowly brought back up as the economy was stimulated, or the banks were getting loads of money because of what they'd done with the bad debts and the bad loans. So the banks were getting bailed out with stimulated money from pretty much most of the Western countries. And then it just continued to move up and continued to move up. And then every time that there was a pullback, which these pullbacks are only on the weekly time frame, these pullbacks are only like 12% pullbacks for a big pullback there. What it's doing is just continuing to stimulate the economy. But now they're at a point where they can't stimulate the economy anymore. And you've got inflation that's out of control. So at some point, there's got to be some kind of a correction. So where does it going to correct? Because it hasn't built up any major support and resistance levels. I mean, we mentioned this one here, which would probably act as a strong level, 2.859K, which is probably going to act as a strong support level, should I say. But we haven't had time to build up any major support and resistance levels. It's just an up as everything's been stimulated over the years. So unless this economy starts getting stimulated again and start printing more money.
But yeah, I think before the elections next year they will probably start printing again, you know, and that will probably, you know, like super grow. I think especially crypto, because like once you get now, like the cap is 1 trillion, like we have like 100 trillions, I think, in stock market. So like it's huge difference, like if you add 1% to stock market of like total market cap, you would get double increase in total market to crypto currently. So yeah, it's funny. It's funny when you look at it in that way. Yeah.
Last time I looked, which was quite a while ago, there was $3.5 trillion traded in Forex every single day.
3.5 trillion.
Every single day, traded every single day.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much is traded in crypto, to be honest.
Yeah, I wonder. But it's because like if you go and buy American US dollars over the counter in the post office in England, that's a trade, but you just got on holiday kind of thing.
Yeah. We can't even know like exact amount in crypto because of OTC markets. Yeah, and there's a lot of crypto. I know one exchange for which I did consulting. I cannot disclose the name, but yeah, like they already knew that they will have like some institutional investor clients, and with not many clients, they acted as an aggregator of different exchanges. So pretty much they had smart order routing. So pretty much, if you create order on that exchange, it looks on different exchanges and looks where it can execute at the best price, So they may be with less than 10 clients, they enter like the top 10 exchanges based on trading volume, at one moment.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous, how if some big players join, how much, they can actually, impact the market pretty much.
Yeah. Have you what's the crack with them Telegram bots? I haven't got a clue about them.
I don't have any Telegram bots in my channel, but yeah, I don't know.
No, I mean, no. Do you know that new thing, the Telegram bots that are doing the trading?
Oh, you mean that? Yeah, I heard that became popular, but I don't think, I feel that the advantage is that it can execute order fast, right? But I feel that this is so not secure, because you need to connect with the API probably. There's no other way, and it adds one additional like layer of issues, to be honest.
Yeah. I haven't got a clue. I don't know anything about it, and they can't all win, can they? It's got to be losers.
Yeah, but even if you just think about it, like you need to connect somehow, with API. There is no other way, because if you type a command on Telegram and it executes on exchange, it has to be connected in some way.
Right.
So and Telegram, in my opinion, like I realized that a lot of people actually like Telegram, but for me, it's probably the platform with most scammers, Discord also started having a lot of scammers, but now they're changing some things up a little bit. And in general, I feel that you can add anti-bot protection at any channel. Obviously, like I had some person impersonating me, and that's weird because I'm like super small, but still, yeah, these things happen, and that person, like Croatian and Serbian languages are similar. That person talked Croatian language and not the Serbian one. And he maybe even use Google Translate or some AI translators or something like that. Yeah. So yeah. You like Telegram or not?
No, I don't like any of them. No. I've never grown up. I've never had Facebook. I always rebelled against Facebook and stuff. And like the first time that I set up a Facebook account was this one. And I didn't have Telegram. Don't really use Discord. I didn't have like anything and didn't like using any of them.
I feel Twitter is good if you want to come up to information really fast, but like Telegram is good for airdrops and these things. Discord as well, but I don't know. I don't do many airdrops. In the past, like there were some when there was ICO boom during that time, everyone was doing campaigns on Telegram, and pretty much you would gaining points through bounty campaign based on your activity on Telegram.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I do like on there. I like actually, when you get to actually have the interaction, you get to actually have the chatting with the people and building the community and having a community and stuff. But the actual like uploading stuff and scheduling that kind of things, what's I struggle with. There's quite a lot. I've just set up that Threads as well. I've literally just set up a Threads account and I don't know how to use it. I think you've got to put a post up or something and then it says add thread. And I'm like, I don't know what a thread is.
Honestly, I dislike apps that are only used on mobile. When I use something, I want to use it on my desktop as well. So yeah. I majority of the time I'm in front of desktop. That's why, and I have a bit fat fingers. So yeah, it's difficult. I always mistype something when I'm typing.
Yeah, I'm the same on the phone. I'm terrible with phones. It takes me ages to do anything. If my brother or my girlfriend are watching me on there, they'll see me doing it, and they're literally, you can see it in their face. It's just so painful. It's taking me ages to do anything. They end up taking it off me and doing it, finishing it off for me. So I've got a habit of asking my brother stuff as well because I hate learning new things. I get good at learning stuff with certain platforms and certain things that I get interested in. I get like quite obsessive with things that I actually want to learn. So I like delve straight into stuff like that, and I'm quite advanced with certain things. But when it comes to learning new things, I always shy away from it. So if there's like a new platform or anything like that, I'll go to my brother and I'll be like, "Oh, do you know how to do this? Can you do this for me?" And he's like, "Just ask ChatGPT. That's what I would do. Ask Google it." So he's not telling me anymore now.
For me, it's also like it's hard. It's difficult to accept that when you're completely new to something. Like I don't know, even things in real life. I sometimes before I was super resistant to even try something because I knew that I will be really bad at it. Especially like if it's some sport thing or something like that. Because honestly, besides lifting weights, I always, like if 10 people walk and the one falls randomly, I'm the guy that felt, so I'm not like super, how to say it, like I don't know how to say it in English, but yeah, I always fall randomly or I had ankle issues, so I my ankle, and things like that. Yeah, so it's probably because I was always heavier than majority of the people, so that might be one of the issues. But in general, I'm not super. Besides lifting weights, I'm not super athletic.
Yeah.
I can do some kickboxing and things like that, but like for group sports like football, basketball, and these things, I'm terrible, to be honest.
Yeah. I always played football. I always played football until like probably last 5-6 years, something like that, when I stopped. But because in the north of England, that's just football, everything. In the north of England, there'd be like about 20 football pitches right next to each other, and they'd all have matches on there all the time, and you'd be kicking the ball over and it'd go on to the next pitch all the time. And
yeah, I watched some movies about like fighting in UK before. And these things, it's funny how, now I feel it's slightly different. For me, for football, like when there were like 20 people around, I'm the guy that is left last, and you get Željko in your team. Yeah. I was that bad, to be honest.
Yeah, but lifting weights first.
Yeah, honestly, there I think I am solid. Yeah.
Yeah, that's your passion. But because I was looking at Bitcoin earlier on it's not giving anything Bitcoin at the moment, is it? It's like there's still coiling up for that big move, but
I think now, like I feel that like as the time goes on there will be like less and less like good trading opportunities, and I feel that the markets will be more and more like chop, like, and like go slightly up, then a pullback, slightly up, then a pullback, like, and I feel that this might be the bull run that we get. It might be the last like classical bull run, in my opinion, or even earlier, we might get some kind of a like super cycle, because like volatility is decreasing. The increase in price will decrease as well. Now, if you look at Bitcoin price, it's so obvious that we are losing momentum, like we're in uptrend, but like there is no momentum at all, and like the longer that we are ranging, I feel that there are less odds, that we might even get some impulsive move up, but I expect the immediate pullback pretty much.
Yeah.
I become more bearish, if we are not increasing in price now than bullish.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It seems like when you look at like from an accumulation distribution perspective, it seems like the accumulation level when we were at the 15,000, got a nice head and shoulders playing out there. That breaks the neckline. That'd be a big one if that breaks the neckline. That'd be a big move. But sorry, so Bitcoin. Yeah, so when you look at, let me get back on the daily. When you look at like from an accumulation and distribution perspective, and you go back 3-day chart, back down to this level here, where you've got this accumulation phase. It's probably about the same actually. So what's that on the 3-day chart? And that's 20, 40, 60 days. 60 days accumulation. And then would you think that this is distribution? If that was distribution, 20. If you had 40 days of, 60 days of distribution, that means that we've got one lot of 3 days left. But this looks more like this, doesn't it? Rather than this, which is a healthy pullback.
Honestly, this situation now, it shows like it's huge indecision. We had some false breakout, which is very bearish. Then now we have, I don't know, triple local bottom.
Yeah. If it comes back, you've got a triple double bottom. You've had that, which potentially should act as a huge support point because of how many times it's been touched over those days. But then you've also got to factor in. I'm kind of like 50-50 to be honest with you on it. I'm probably edging on it creating a lower high here.
Yeah, that's my issue with sharing personal journey. Like now you can record video. Now I'm watching the markets. I'm not doing anything. I'm not touching anything.
Yeah. But on it is huge indecision because at the end of the day, it created a new high. It created a new higher close. But I mean, when you look at it from an extension perspective, what we looked at before from a bang. Bring that down. It's nowhere near hitting any kind of equal measured move. So equal measured move up to here, and you'd expect an extension which would bring it up to here, which coincide with the levels we were talking about earlier. It's not hitting any of these extension levels. It's created that new high, but then it's had a pullback. So that's what's concerning me is we want it to be at least an equal measured move from that swing. So you've had your 5 moves here, but the 6 moves didn't actually play out or hasn't played out yet. So you've got, where is it? Got your wave 1, your wave 2, your wave 3, pull back, your wave 4, They haven't made the wave 5. And these are all going to be fib extensions of each other if you measure them out. Well, they should be. Let me get rid of that. So pull that back. So this 0.5 retracement there. So you've had a 0.5 retracement there. And then you've had, this move's not finished yet. But when you look at it from an extension perspective, you bring this all the way back down to here. You're hitting the 1618 up here, reacted from the 1618. This second move, if you bring it up here, hit the equal measure. So it's come back down, hit the equal measure, reacted from the equal measure, didn't manage to test the 1272. Then we had this correction here. Then we had a reaction at the 1272 just about. But that's the 1272 of wave 1 and wave 2. So what you'd expect is the same for wave 2 and for wave 3 and wave 4 and wave 5, should I say. So bringing that all the way back down. Hasn't hit a 1272, hasn't hit a 1618, and hasn't made an equal measured move. Hasn't made an equal measured move. So wave 2, wave 3 is always an extension of wave 1. If you're going to have a 5-wave move in a bullish trend, same for a bearish. So you'd expect an extension on wave 3. Yeah, expect an extension of wave 5, but not necessarily a bigger extension than wave 3. But that's what's concerning me, is we haven't had that big swing to the upside. So that's a huge level that we need to beat, and concerns me a little bit. I'm only trading in and out at the moment, just on small positions, little positions.
Yeah, for example, now, I don't know if you follow, but we had like inflation rate increase lower than expected, and we haven't saw any more. Actually, we have some decrease in price.
What was the interest rate?
I think it increased from like 3 to 3.2 instead of from 3 to 3.3.
Oh, so it's better than expected then.
Yeah, it's better than expected, but still, yeah.
Yeah, just.
CPI data, Consumer Price Index, not inflation rate.
Yeah. Oh, okay. When was CPI yesterday then?
I think it was today, maybe.
Today?
Yeah, it was today, yeah.
Right, okay. That's interesting. So it hasn't really moved the market then?
Yeah, it actually, market acted negatively. But I think, I don't know what are your thoughts, but for me, I feel that like, in general, people put too much attention, to inflation rate, CPI, and things like that. Like, of course, yeah, it affects the market for big players, but for retail investors, for you, it will have bigger impact if you change the job or not, in comparison, even if you have some increase in inflation rates. In Serbia, inflation rate is like, I think now it's like 16-17% or something like that, Imagine for people in Turkey, in Brazil, Argentina, they have in Venezuela, they have like insane, inflation rates, So pretty much like for retail investors, it's much bigger difference, like what job you're working on, if you are working more or less in these things. And I think, like when it comes to crypto, where we still don't have like some huge players, like in the markets, I feel it's a little bit overhyped. And the proof for that is that when you see that inflation rate is released, you get like moved to one side, then you have moved to another side, and that's, you can see that it's more manipulated than its actual movement, like impacted by that increase or reduction of inflation rate, for example.
Yeah. I think I agree from a macro perspective. It doesn't tend to move the market too much. But usually, if from an investment perspective, you just buying it and holding it a lot of the time. As far as retail is concerned, they don't actively try and buy and sell all the time because that's what usually wipes them out. But
Yeah,
No, I think that news impacts trading, day trading, it impacts swing trading, it impacts if I wouldn't be in a leverage position during a big news event.
Yeah, me neither. I need to find, for next time, I need to see and after the call, how much Bitcoins are actually owned by institutional investors. Not just I guess there are some Satoshi have 1 million Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
I guess that there are some retail investors that have a lot of Bitcoin as well that went into the crypto early. But I wonder, what's the ratio, of, you're already Googling it. What's the ratio? I'm too lazy to Google now. What's the ratio of institutional investors owning? What's the amount of Bitcoin actually owned by institutional investors? That's maybe interesting fact. And maybe for them it's important, right? But for the retail investors, it doesn't affect them at all. Actually, if the inflation rate is rising, for people that have, if you have 10 million in Bitcoin and inflation rate is rising, it doesn't affect you, because except if you want to sell all that Bitcoin and start some business, but otherwise it doesn't affect you at all.
Yeah. Who owns the most Bitcoin?
Yeah. Now it's such a popular topic. How much of X Bitcoin will make you a millionaire?
Being 4 billion, they reckon 4 million's been lost.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. One of the things that people don't take into account, if 4 millions is lost and you have inflation rate of Bitcoin of around, I think the inflation rate yearly of Bitcoin is around 2.5% or something like that.
Yeah.
It's actually higher, right? It's actually 3.5 to 4%.
Yeah.
Because you have less overall Bitcoin, so the amount mined is actually higher in comparison to the amount of Bitcoin that is actually existing in hands of people that can actually sell. Yeah.
The Winklevoss twins own 70,000.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Tim Draper owns 30,000 nearly.
Yeah, but imagine how many people are actually not disclosing, I think guys like Nick Carter, and few of these other origin guys, I bet that they have a lot of Bitcoin, to be honest.
Yeah.
Even some big YouTubers, I think that, I don't know, but I think, for example, we talked a lot about Benjamin Cohen. I think that he has, I don't know, at least few million in assets. A lot of people actually speak like they have millions, but I feel it's rarely the case, but some of them actually have a lot, Yeah. I think Journey Crypto has a lot as well,
Who's that?
It's some guy, I think he started his own NFT project or something like that.
Yeah.
And I feel that majority of these people, even on tech maybe as well, majority of the people that actually have a lot of their own Bitcoins, they not stepped down completely from YouTube, but they're not that active anymore, to be honest. They're more pursuing freedom of life than they're pursuing, being active, earning more money, and these things.
Yeah, I think Ivan probably is, isn't he?
Yeah. By the way, I can see that you're tired, because usually you talk way more than I do, to be honest.
No, I am really tired today. I'm gonna have to cut it probably soon, because I've got tea downstairs waiting. I've got spaghetti bolognese, which is my worst meal.
Why it's worst?
Because it's my girlfriend's favorite, and she cooks it too much.
Oh, that's funny.
So, yeah.
I actually need to start preparing food by myself, because I ate much healthier, when I was preparing food,
Yeah, no. because I had my boss when I went in there today. I usually do 9 till 4 when you're supposed to have a lunch hour, so it's usually 9 till 5, but you get an hour's lunch. But I usually do 9 till 4, but because he was being a dick earlier, I went in there and he was like, "You need to work till 5 o'clock later." So I was like, "Right, okay, yeah, no problem." And then I was like, just didn't let him see that he was getting to me. And I was like, right, okay, I'll upload my video and everything and do my thumbnail and everything for today's video while I'm at work. So you see, that annoyed him because honestly, Jellicoe, they hate me talking about crypto at work. Not the people that are in there, just the bosses and stuff. They just don't like it. So they get really annoyed with that. So probably when it comes to tomorrow, he's probably going to let me finish at 4 again tomorrow because he doesn't want me doing crypto stuff at work.
I don't know why, but I feel that a lot of people, when they hear you talking about crypto, when crypto is falling, they're like, you lost the money, and things like that. But when crypto is going up, they're like, oh, fuck you, you're earning on scams, and these things, like, so whatever is happening in the markets, they're always negative, and I don't know why is that for other countries. In Serbia, I know like people here don't have a culture of investing. I realized that like there was some study done. I think 70% of people in the United States, I'm not sure if that's correct data. I'm always scared of saying wrong numbers. Yeah. I think 70% of people in the United States invested in stock market at least some amount of money.
Yeah.
I feel in Serbia, this number is so low and people are like super uneducated, like here, I feel that like majority of people, when they get some amount of money, they always buy real estate, and like everyone here is like crazy about like owning multiple apartments and renting them, and nobody even considers other options here,
Yeah.
And like the rent prices, they're like high, but like you can buy cheaper apartment in Greece, for example, and rent it for higher amount. You can buy the apartment for same amount in Germany and rent it for higher amount than in Serbia, at average.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's weird, I don't know much about real estate, to be honest. I don't know how I would be managing apartment in another country, and you probably need to hire an agency that would handle that for you. But still, I don't think, that it's great investment. It's great investment if you're buying it for yourself, as we discussed last time. But I don't think that it's great investment of like buying 10 real estates. It's secure to some point, but still, here the regulations are always not clear enough, and like, I wouldn't feel safe, on that way, for example. I feel more safe in crypto, even though I was hacked, than if I would own, multiple apartments here, to be honest.
I've just opened a new account on a different exchange. It's called Uphold.
Oh, I heard for that, yeah.
Uphold, but they're
actually I was writing some articles for Uphold before.
Where?
For some they had some agency for which I did some articles, and we wrote for Uphold, yeah.
For the exchange.
Yeah.
But it's FCA regulated in the UK. So I was trying to like, which means that it's like regulated heavily. They've got to go through certain rules and have certain capital amounts at any one time and that kind of thing. So that's the reason why. I'm trying to have like different exchanges now where I'm building on different exchanges, doing different things. So I've got about 5 or 6 of them now.
I'm registered on multiple exchanges as well, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, did you heard? I think I mentioned to you, Tangem Wallet.
You did, yeah. You showed me last time, yeah. Have you used it?
I tried it. It's super simple, like there's some advantages, some disadvantages. Advantages is that it doesn't have seed phrase. So pretty much if somebody steals your phone, steals your cards, you lost it completely. That's disadvantage. But it's huge advantage that pretty much nobody can steal your seed phrase,
Yeah.
So as long as you have card with you, and pretty much for somebody to steal from you, he would either need to take all your cards or he would need to take card and a phone, so it's really difficult, for somebody that wants to access it, I just think that they market it a bit wrong, they market it in a way that you carry the card with yourself, and that's okay for small amounts, but imagine if you have 1 million in crypto on your card, and you carry it by yourself. I wouldn't do it,
No, not a chance.
140 kilos wouldn't save you if you have 1 million. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's a weird concept to think about that. I'm reading this at the moment. I don't know if you can see it.
Trade what you see. Yeah.
You see.
Who wrote it?
It was Larry Pesavento and Leslie Duflay. I'm not sure. But it's delves into the mathematics quite a lot. I'm only halfway through it at the moment. But I was reading it in the train on the way to London and back. It's really good. Some things are really, 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 really good from a psychological perspective, showing you why certain patterns play out from a psychological perspective and how you can do certain things. But some of it was just like, got to read it again.
Yeah, for me, I never read it in physical form. When I read something, I always read it in digital form. I can't remember when I held a book, usually I only use it sometimes when I need to calculate it. I write numbers on the paper, but in general, I always do it in digital form, like PDF, and yeah, that's it. Or even when it's something that doesn't have a lot of numbers, I prefer audio form. If it has a lot of numbers, then obviously you need to look into it, because I always tell people, when you have 2 plus 3 plus 7 minus 5, if you have it written in paper, it takes 1 second to calculate. But when you hear it, it's really difficult, even with 4 simple numbers,
Yeah.
At least for me. So I'm pretty visual when it comes to that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty visual with learning, but I've only read about 5 books in my life ever. But trading, sometimes it's nice to just be able to just sit downstairs or just take it with you, kind of thing. But it was interesting. One thing that was quite good, it was saying about the little strategy, which wasn't the full strategy, but it was the basic of the strategy was the candle open of the stock market, and it was giving certain examples of certain stocks, and it was saying that from a psychological perspective, a trader knows 18 hours before the open of the second day what that trade's going to be. So because the trader, the institutional trader or the day trader or the swing trader, knows 18 hours in advance what they want the market to do the following day, then it creates mass within the market the previous day. And the reason why is because the psychological impact that they've had on the previous trading day. So the reason why they say 18 hours before is because whatever's happened for the first open and the first few hours after that open has impacted what they're thinking they want to happen for tomorrow. So it was basically given a couple of calculations, which was quite interesting. And one was, if you wait for a candle open of certain stocks within the stock market, and then you just let it move, and you can go on the 15 or the half an hour time frame, and you let it move, and you wait for that to pull back to the 618. And the first time that it hits the 618, you create an entry point and put your stop loss above the top of the wick or whatever it is, the body of the previous candle open, so the current candle open, and then that's your stop loss. So the position's always going to be between the 618 and the actual open. And it says there's a 60% chance of it continuing to either the downside if it opens to the downside, or 60% chance to the upside if it opens to the upside, and 40% to the downside in that instance. So it's quite interesting to see from a psychological perspective that they know 18 hours before because something's went wrong or right the previous 4 hours. So it creates that momentum, doesn't it, of people thinking beforehand. And when the mass start thinking, then you get the directional bias on the end of that, don't you? So it's quite little things like that are quite interesting.
Did you maybe test it if that's really happening or not yet?
No, I haven't. I only read it 2 days ago, and what I said, I was chatting to my brother about it, and what I said to him was, you don't really get a candle open. You'll get a daily open on crypto,
Yeah,
but you don't get a candle. You don't get the open, do you? Because you haven't had the break. You haven't had the stock market close, so you don't get the open. So from a psychological perspective in crypto, people that did something one day before on the candle open, if something didn't go that way in the crypto market within the first 4 hours, they're probably not thinking tomorrow on the candle open, I'm going to do this. They're probably thinking, I'll go back into the 4 hour and do this. That's what my mindset's thinking with crypto. So I haven't looked at it, I haven't tested it, and I only read it a couple of days ago, but I don't think it'll work with crypto because it's 24-hour market.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, and sometimes you can notice a big changes just before the market close, especially if it's weekly or monthly candle.
Yeah.
I realize that sometimes you can get like complete change of a direction in the last few hours. Yeah, so it's weird sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm so lazy when it comes to back testing because like you already know that it takes a lot of time if you want to take a big enough sample, especially if you want to test something, let's say if you want to look into daily, right? Like usually you would want to look into the last 2-3 years because you want like the markets when they're in the ranging markets, when they're in a in bull run, bear market, so it's a lot of data to look into, and how each, especially if it's something like that you need to look how each of the candles reacted, even just moving like through the charts and looking at so much data, it like I need to find something that would like automatically calculate the things, and you get percentages, and like now you can see that some structures like don't behave as people would expect. For example, you draw like inverse head and shoulders on phantom.
Yeah.
I think like for that to play out and to not play out, it's like it's high odds to not play out, to be honest.
If you get a break and a close, above, you've got a higher probability of it playing out.
Yeah.
But you haven't got that, and we haven't got that. So head and shoulders are great for bottoming patterns, but then you've got to look at the range as well. So are we trending upwards? Are we trending downwards? We're trending sideways probably at the moment. So you haven't got the directional bias from it's trending in either direction. It's probably still trending bearish if you ask it ultimately on phantom. But if this range got broken here and we managed to get a close above here, then the stop losses that get triggered the other side, and then you start getting a move to the upside, and the head and shoulders are a brilliant pattern for playing out on a reversal perspective. So it probably isn't going to break out. You're probably right, it isn't. But if it did, it would have a higher probability if you managed to get the close, because it's showing the momentum for the bulls. Then it's showing there's some kind of momentum. It's showing there's a clear head and shoulders that's played out, and then it's showing that have managed to put that close above. And because they put that close above, the bears either shy away or wait to see what kind of move plays out. And it's usually quite a big move that gets them stopped out. It usually actually does coincide with the neckline.
Yeah, I found, what's interesting for me? I found some guy did back testing on various patterns, and he actually found that like, for example, falling wedge is a bullish pattern, and he found that like around 60% of the cases we had decrease in price and 40% increase.
Yeah, these are great.
Yeah.
Those are great, especially like you get because you expect it like that is a clear bull flag. You're thinking, right, okay, that's a clear bull flag. And then you've got whatever 618, whatever, there's a reason, break of trend. You've got the reason for entry on the upside. You've got your stops below there. They're great. And that's good confirmation on a bull flag. But when you've got this, when you've kind of got this, I love these. and it comes from a huge bearish move, and it's just showing that the bears have managed to push price action all the way down here with this big solid move, which is bearish. We're in a bearish pattern, continuing bearish, but you're coiling up and they're still pushing down. It's coiling and coiling and coiling and coiling. And each time they lose the momentum, they can't keep doing this anymore. They haven't got that kind of momentum anymore. When you get the huge breakout of there, these are usually massive.
Yeah, we had this pattern during the previous bull run, right?
Yeah.
Exactly that pattern, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we did actually, yeah. And on quite a lot of altcoins, you had that pattern as well. They're great, they are. They're reversal patterns, not trend continuation. So when you're looking at reversal patterns, it's always say that the trend's your friend, aren't they? So you should always be trading with the trend and looking for entries. Otherwise, you're reducing your probabilities. Because for me, if you're looking at reversals on a higher time frame, that's the hardest thing to conquer that. So you're always going to have a low success rate. You're always going to have strong stop losses. It's quite an aggressive thing to be a reversal trader. I'd prefer to take smaller amounts out of trends that have got a higher probability of playing out.
Yeah, for me that showed better as well.
Yeah. But so I don't like trading against the trend. You can tell as well, when you're trading against the trend, you can tell as well that probably like 90% of the time you actually do know that there's going to be a pullback. You can see where the pullbacks happen. You can see where you've had a reaction. For instance, if it was a bearish move to the downside, you can see that this is, you get a wick here just as an example and a close there. You can see that this is always going to happen, and you can look at it and you're nearly always right. But if you were trading it, there'd always be that one time. Always be that one time that you've got a higher probability of it continuing to the downside kind of thing. So it's always best to get this move rather than this move in a downtrend. Yeah. Always better. And then you've always got your stops there. If you had stops there where you could have put them.
No, this is phantom chart, yeah. But this is on daily, yeah.
That's on the daily, yeah. Been battered, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, we had some inverse head and shoulders, I think, as well. If you expand it a bit on daily, near that local top, it's not head and shoulders, yeah.
It's essentially it's a slanting head and shoulders.
No, I'm looking at the top one, but it's not.
Oh, that one. All right, okay, yeah.
No, right.
You're looking at this one.
Yeah, but it's not, yeah.
No, this was a slanting head and shoulders by the looks of it. Stick it on there.
Yeah, this is a weird one.
Potentially not a great one, really, actually. No, that's you can't really class that because of this move to the upside. You can't really call that a head and shoulders, but the concept's there. You've put in a new low, you've created a lower high, you've put in a new low, you've created a lower high, you haven't managed to put in a new low, momentum, break, move to the upside side. So that's all the head and shoulders is just at the last shoulder, not managing to put in, if it's an inverse head and shoulder, not managing to put in that new low. Otherwise, it's not a head and shoulders.
Yeah. By the way, when I put on the internet today's video, like I can call it Head and Shoulders podcast.
Yeah, I haven't been that active. I haven't been very. I've been a bit tired today, so it's.
No. It's funny how sometimes we catch to some point and we focus on that, but yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, if we go through multiple examples of one thing, in one video, it's unfortunate, yeah, that we don't get more people, but I guess, yeah, after some time, more people will join. Yeah. By the way, like I'm also pretty tired, so I'll probably go to eat, and catch up in the video in the next few days. I guess, I can see that you're a bit tired as well. Yeah. Next Thursday we can record like video for my channel. Yeah. I realized that the video on yours didn't catch any traction almost. Yeah, it's weird.
Wow. Do you know what? I think it's the search engine optimization that I'm doing. Sometimes I do quite good with it, and sometimes I don't, and I don't actually understand what it is.
I think now during the summer, like overall, like the amount of people watching YouTube is much lower. Like everyone is chilling out, doing other things. And I feel that like when people are working and when people are like more active in general when it comes to other things, that they are more active when it comes to YouTube as well. And specifically like when crypto markets are like this and nothing is happening, like I feel that people want to hear about this happened, that happened,
Yeah, no, I think that as well. Do you know, right? Do you know when you get them scammy comments that say, "Oh, thank you for this informative information," and then you'll have like 10 replies to it underneath saying, "Join so and so's Telegram group."
Yeah, I have that all the time. Yeah.
Do they actually go on your channel? Because on this video that I done today, I had 5 views straight away, and the 5 people that viewed it went straight on there and straight off there. And then the 5 views come off there.
I think these views are removed, and I don't know why that is happening. But for me, one of the first videos that I made, I had like 120 of these comments.
Yeah.
And like I had maybe 30 subscribers, and I had 120 comments of scam people, and it's super weird, and I think that YouTube is doing a terrible job at eliminating these. And honestly, I don't know how people fall for these, because it's usually something that's WhatsApp related.
Yeah.
It's always like reach to me on WhatsApp, and even though I block some of the keywords regarding WhatsApp, I still get these comments and I still get these people writing these stupid things, so yeah. I'm not sure how to eliminate that, to be honest.
No, you'd think that it'd be linked to a YouTube account and they'd do something, wouldn't you?
I think that they're finding some ways how they automatically, if you put something in hashtag, they automatically go to your videos. Maybe something like this, Yeah. I'm not sure how that works, but it's terrible, to be honest.
Yeah, annoying.
But... And I think that ruins our channels a bit, because you're getting like less than 30 seconds watch time from that viewer. So I feel it's not something that's good,
No, it's not. No.
And they pretty much never subscribe. They never stay on your video. They just comment and go, pretty much.
Yeah, it's annoying. But
yeah, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I have a comment, nice, let's see what's it, and then I see, again, a scam,
Yeah.
And I always give my best, to answer all comments and everything. I think you are even like more active when it comes to that, since you're doing TA of everything that people ask you to do. To be honest, sometimes, sometimes I look into it, sometimes I don't, to be honest, but yeah, I can see that you're really active in terms of that.
Do you know that guy, the Greek, the guy that was on the last call?
Yeah.
We put one of his charts up in the Telegram group. I don't know if you've seen, and he put a trade up, and we asked where his stops were and where his targets were, and we mapped it out on there in tiny bit. He got stopped out. But it's interesting to see how it come back, retested, just missed where his stop was, and then started continuing the move to the downside. And it's really interesting for them to see that how risk management can play like a nice little part in it, even though they didn't play out. And he said that he only lost 10 cents, which was really good. So he's just obviously just getting a feel for it. But yeah, it's nice to see the whole thing play out from start to finish as to what did happen, what went wrong, what could have happened, what did price action do following that, what risk to reward would you be best to do, and that kind of thing. So hopefully we can be a little bit more interactive with that.
Yeah, and the thing that sometimes people, I feel that, how to say, like people always, when they are creating a position, they are always thinking about how much they want to make, instead of like looking first where I always look it differently. I always look where my stop loss should be, and then I adjust position size based on my stop loss, because I want to lose if I lose the trade, I want to know that I will lose, let's say, $100 in the trade, I don't look how much I gain. I look how much I lose if I lose it.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, 100% preservation of capital is the first thing, isn't it? But what I do similar to that. But what I would do is my $100 risk would have to be within the area that I wanted it. Otherwise, it just wouldn't be anything. I wouldn't take it. But if I was, from a trading perspective, if I was going to risk $100, I wouldn't be able to put it where the $100 mark is unless that $100 mark was in the right area, kind of thing.
In the right area, you mean that you want to have certain risk reward ratio, or I didn't understood?
So the risk to reward. So if I was using $100 as my risk capital, and just as an instance, I was using that to gain $200. So I've got a 2-to-1 risk to reward. If I was doing that, my $100 level stop loss, I would want that to be in the position that I would want it to be. So usually below the previous high or below the previous low.
Yeah. I also look into that. Yeah. That's how I start the trade. I look at the current price and I look, what if what is the price that I assume, where I would count it as an invalid trade, and that's where I start,
Yeah.
And I see many people look, I want to win $1,000, and then they look from that perspective, and I think that leads you to just bigger losses.
This was his trade.
Oh, yeah, this was very unfortunate. Yeah.
This was his trade. So he got he had $30,000 as his entry point, which was a great entry. Like 30,000, it was a great entry. And then this was his stop loss was 200, 30,200. It went to 30,225 and then reversed. And he had 5-to-1 risk to reward.
Yeah, that sometimes, what I feel that people are sometimes looking for too much risk to reward. I don't know, like just my opinion. I want to focus more on greed trading. I'm working on that algorithm, like for example, here, if he decided that he allows a bit bigger, but he wouldn't be, he would be stopped on the first candle. Okay, I see it. Yeah. If it was just bigger than the previous week at the left.
Yeah.
No. Look at the one more. Yeah. If it's, but that would be 2. Yeah. Then it would be maybe 1 to 2.5 risk reward, right?
Yeah.
But he would win the trade, right?
Yeah.
So it's always, sometimes risk management is, he wouldn't win the trade, but he would be at the positive side currently. Yeah.
Yeah. And if this did play out now, if that didn't happen, which is obviously hindsight, but it's always good to learn from it, then at this swing here, you would have a risk-free trade brought down, and you'd either put it at this swing, depending on whether you wanted to be aggressive or not. I'll give it a little bit of movement and maybe do a 618, let this move have a 618 from the previous one, which it wouldn't have hit, and then put it up to there, and then just brought it down until it reversed and leave it in profit.
So you're pretty much like, as the trade is progressing, you're creating like trailing, not classical trailing stop, but some kind of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because when I'm building leverage, I like to have a trailing stop loss in there, because otherwise you're just going to give the money back.
But you increase the leverage, right?
Yeah, I'm not in anything here, but just as an example, if it was in here, I'd be able to increase the leverage at this point if I had my entry at this point. So I'd be able to increase my leverage if I had a small position here, and I increase my leverage here, and then I can break even, see if that swing plays out. If not, hit stop, break even. But if it does hit and it continues to the downside, and you can continue the move down and then bring this down.
And from that perspective, increasing leverage in one trade, like let's say if you had risk of $100, like what's the highest risk reward ratio that you managed to pull out, that you actually won the trade, like Like, because if you're like 1 to 3 risk reward, right?
Yeah.
And then you increase the leverage 2 times, then
Yeah.
at one point you, instead of 1 to 3, you get 1 to 6 or something like that. What's the biggest return that you managed to get in one trade on that way? And how many times did you increase the leverage? I think you mentioned to me that you increased from 2 to 3, from 3 to 5, right?
Yeah. I got to 40x.
You got to 40x, right?
Yeah. And I got to 40x and it come back and stopped me out. I've got to 40x twice now and it's come back and stopped me out on both times. I got to a 20x before and I increased my account percentage by 75% on one trade.
Oh, yeah, that's insane. Yeah, if you manage to do it.
Yeah, and that's why, remember when we were speaking before, I was only managing to get like 5 and 10% increases. But it was really good because the drawbacks were really short. But what it allows me to do in these rare instances, because it'll usually just be a take profit and then just wait and wait for the next trade to play out. But when they do rarely play out and you get a good one, you either get this that's happening where at this point here, I don't know if you're putting this out, but I wouldn't recommend anyone does this, but you've managed to get in the move here. 2x. What I can do in this point here, if it's creating a triangle, it's come back down. You've hit a base here a couple of times. I can increase at these points here. It comes back down. I can increase at these points here and always manage to have a stop at break even below these points here. So if it is a bull flag and you're managing to get increased positions at these points here, sometimes you get wicked out. A lot of the time you get wicked out, actually. That's the danger with leverage is the more you increase your position, the more or the less of a stop loss that you manage to have. So you keep increasing at these levels, but what it allows for is you've got a base here. You're either going to be right or you're going to be wrong. If you're wrong, it's going to be free. Apart from the amount that you've lost at this point here, which you could have took. So that move there, to a certain extent, and this is only just sometimes when my rules are met, this point here, that's your gamble. So you could have banked that. You haven't banked that. You've waited for the pullback. You've got your break even because you've made this move here. You're waiting for the pattern to form. You can build in your levels. And then you know exactly every time that you get a bounce, you can increase it and always know that you've gained this. It's unrealized profit, but always know that you aren't losing your initial capital from here. So the risk is this. The loss is this in that instance.
Yeah, and you mainly do it on 4 hours time frame, right?
I often do it on a 1 hour time frame, Jellicoe, with a 4 hour as my bias. So I'd have the 4 hour time frame is telling me what's happening at the moment. We're on this move here. Ultimately, you've got sideways action, but this previous swing's creating potentially a higher low, made a higher high here. So that's your bias, and then you go into the lower time frame and say, where am I going to get a reaction from here? It's probably going to be the 618.
You know what I would like to see, for example, if you do 50 long, 50 short trades, following the same rules, I would like to see comparison of returns, because I feel, like the bigger move that you're trying to get, it's much easier to do it through the long in comparison through the short. Because, like if you
downside at the moment,
if you look like 10% down is same as like 11% up. You return to the same price, right? So it's much easier to get like higher percentage up than down. It's small, but when you accumulate it over many trades, you get better returns.
Yeah. So this is what I mean. So if you're on the 4 hour and you're saying that this is your directional bias here, I know it's sideways action and that'd be factored as sideways, just an example though. Say that you move to the upside, higher high, potentially making a higher low. and you're looking for an entry now, got our bias, we're in this instance bullish, hypothetically, and then you're in the lower time frame, so your trading time frame, and this is where you're looking for something to happen. You're expecting something to happen at around about these levels. If it's a strong trend, you got the 618 level or the 382 level. So you're looking for something to happen. And another strong, powerful thing that you can do as well when you're looking at entries is go into the 15-minute time frame. If, for example, you were trading the 4 hour, your 1 hour as your trading time frame, and you could have your 15-minute as an entry, reason for entry, what you can get from the 15-minute and the hour is whether you're going to get like double bottom patterns or whether you're going to get triple bottom patterns or what kind of reaction you're going to get. So that could be factored in your rules for an entry. And you don't get them on, say, the hourly. So you don't get quite a clear picture on there. So your rules could be, if price action creates a double bottom on the 15-minute, then you look for a higher high, higher close candle, which means that it's got to close above the previous candle. So then you look for the higher high, higher close candle. That's not one. That's not one. That's not one. That didn't close above. Got a lower low, lower close candle. So you can't take that. You haven't had a higher high, higher close candle. So that's a powerful thing. So that could be a second rule. If you get a higher high, higher close, then you look to enter as long as your risk management tells you, but you're always taking.
But this is the falling wedge about which we thought.
Yeah, similar. Yeah. It is, isn't it? Yeah, falling wedge. But they've pushed it down and they've pushed it down, and now they can't keep pushing it like that. There need to be some kind of a pullback for them to be able to slam it back down again. Yeah. That's why you get equal ABC measured moves. You always get ball back to 618 and then slams it back down, and that moves.
And you're now relying less on stochastic RSI because I know that you used it.
I do use the stochastic RSI still.
You use it, okay.
Yeah, I do use it still, and the normal RSI as well. A lot. I always use the normal RSI because this is the most real-time price action. Stochastic's great for being simple and knowing on a macro level. And the one thing that Stochastic's brilliant for is just casting your eye over what's happened at previous points in time. It's so easy for that. So you can say, that happened here, that happened here, that happened here. So you can that's really easy to use because it's an oscillating indicator, whereas the RSI is a real-time price action indicator, so not lagging. And that's why divergences are great on the RSI. So I like to use that as well. But when I'm doing a lot of analysis, I like to try and keep it simple. So a lot of the time I will just use the stochastic just to show people that how it correlates with rest of with price action, because you can see that it's all well and good that we're up here. That's nice. Down here, we're down here. That's nice. But what about here? And what about here? You're down here. So it's always nice to look for things that stochastics overbought has shown that something's happening different on the price chart, because last time it managed to get here. So it's always good to look and find out whether there's strength in the bulls and whether there's strength in the bears. And it's also really good for finding, let me get out in the higher time frame. It's also good for finding when you're in an uptrend or when you're in a downtrend. So if you're in an uptrend, here, you're pulling back and the RSI is pulling back here. If the RSI pulls back below the previous low here, that's showing that there's strong momentum that you're going to make another move to the upside. So it's another thing to find out where the bottom is on an RSI of a previous low. So if you're making a swing to the upside and you've got a pullback and you're putting in a bottoming pattern like this double bottom here, then it's always good to see that the RSI is at the bottom here when previously it was at the bottom here. So it's gaining momentum there. So the RSI, the stochastic RSI.
Yeah, and we have divergence in RSI.
Yeah. So I do like to use both of them from a simple perspective, but they both do different things. I want to try and start building in something like money flow and Have you ever heard of that market cipher before? Market cipher.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
It's an indicator, money flow indicator. So what I want to try and do is kind of have different indicators that complement each other, but do completely different things, like price action, like money flow, oscillating, and try and find a little bit of correlation between them, but from an algorithmic perspective rather than a price action perspective, because you physically can't beat price action, I don't think, in my opinion. The candles tell you a huge story more than anything else.
That's why I use open interest and funding rate, because you can I feel, like the less people that are using something, like the higher odds that like these things actually play out in the ways that we expected, I remember, like now a lot of people actually started using stochastic RSI,
Yeah.
and now when you look into some daily, weekly, you can see sometimes that it stays in the middle, for a while. And I guess it's specifically because, like when many people try to leverage the same thing, I feel that it's less odds of playing out, Yeah. I remember at one time, like before, everyone was using MACD, and like now, well, pretty much all the time, like everyone expected 200, that we don't fall below 300 moving average, because we never did in the past, so yeah, I feel that like as the time goes on, that more of the unexpected things will actually play out.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially if they keep getting used as much as you said, the stochastic RSI. You're completely right. If everybody uses stochastic RSI, it'll have a different impact on it, because the more eyes that are on something, the more the movement that you're going to get. You're going to get in institutions that have got something that they can look at and try and manipulate based on what retail do, because the institutions don't use these kind of things. The institutions don't use our kind of charts. They use where it's data with kind of humans, the way that humans act, the way that certain things are happening in the macro. They've got all sorts of different things that give them an edge in the market more than what the retail investors are. That's why.
Yeah, and we can see like more like of Wyckoff playing out, which is more of an institutional pattern and things like that.
Yeah. I do like Wyckoff.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's I'm pretty dead. I want to go to eat and chill a bit with my girlfriend.
Yeah, me too, mate. Me too. All right, it's been a pleasure as always, Jellicoe.
Yeah, same. Have a great day. Bye.
Yeah, you too, mate. Bye.
Bye.